Hi, I'm Faith Pinot from LA Times Studios in Washington, D.C. Here are some of today's top headlines from the Los Angeles Times. Jane Goodall, who forever changed our understanding of humans and our closest animal relatives, has died at the age of 91. The Jane Goodall Institute announced her passing Wednesday morning, honoring the legendary conservationist who dedicated her life to the study of chimpanzees. Growing up in England, Goodall showed a love for nature from a young age. She spent her teenage years dreaming of the jungle and moved to Tanzania shortly after graduating high school. Without a college degree or any formal scientific education, Goodall started what is now the longest uninterrupted study of chimpanzees. Her trailblazing research revealed the similarities between chimps and humans, the way they use tools, hunt for food, and experience emotions like love, grief, and even aggression. Her findings challenged long-held scientific assumptions and earned her international acclaim. In 1977, she founded the Jane Goodall Institute, advocating for apes, supporting research, and educating the public. She also created the Roots and Shoots program to empower young people in 130 countries, encouraging them to take action for animals, the environment, and their communities. Even well into her 80s, Goodall traveled extensively, speaking to audiences worldwide about sustainable development and the urgent need to protect chimps' natural habitats. Goodall's work opened doors for women around the world and left a legacy that transcends science, inspiring generations to care for the natural world and the creatures we share it with. And in other news, President Trump is warning top military leaders that they could soon be at war with American citizens and urging them to use U.S. cities as training grounds in the meantime.
And it's really a very important mission. And I told Pete we should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military. Because we're going into Chicago very soon. That's a big city with an incompetent governor, stupid governor, stupid. They threw him out of his family business. He was so stupid. I know the family.
Sonia Sharp reports Trump made the announcement in Quantico, Virginia, Tuesday, telling officials that anyone standing in the way of restoring order in America is part of what he called a, quote, war from within. The remarks sparked immediate backlash. Oregon filed a lawsuit challenging deployments, calling them unconstitutional. Experts say using active duty soldiers for civilian law enforcement isn't just alarming, but it's illegal. A federal judge already barred the use of troops in Los Angeles last month, warning of a, quote, national police force with the president as its chief. Still, hundreds remained on city streets, with more National Guard now headed to Portland and Chicago. Legal scholars say Trump is exploiting a loophole in an obscure 19th century law, and challenges to his actions are already piling up in courts around the country. Critics warn repeated deployments risk normalizing military occupations in American cities, and the battle is expected to reach the Supreme Court, a test of just how far Trump's authority can stretch at home. Also, the U.S. government shut down early Wednesday after President Trump and Congress failed to reach a funding deal. According to reporters, more than 700,000 federal workers furloughed and even face firings, with Trump threatening to strip funding from more Democrat-backed programs as retribution. As of Tuesday night, lawmakers were deadlocked. Democrats are demanding money to extend parts of the Affordable Care Act, while Republicans, backed by Trump, are refusing to negotiate. And until they can agree on terms for a new spending bill, the government will remain shuttered. Now, the country has seen shutdowns before. The longest in history stretched 35 days during Trump's first term in 2018 and into 2019. But this one could be even more damaging. Agencies have been told not just to furlough workers, but to prepare for mass firings. And it's all a part of Trump's push to shrink government spending. Essential services like Social Security and the U.S. Postal Service will keep running, but delays and disruptions are expected everywhere else. Even the release of Friday's monthly jobs report is now in doubt. Now, economists are warning that the shutdown could affect the market, despite usually shrugging off past shutdowns. Bottom line, as of Wednesday, there's no deal on the table, leaving millions of Americans stuck in limbo. And also starting Wednesday, solo drivers of clean air vehicles in California will no longer be allowed to use carpool lanes. Karen Garcia reports that more than 500,000 drivers statewide will be affected, losing a perk that they've had for over a decade. Now, experts say on already packed freeways, it may not change traffic much. But for those losing carpool lane access, they'll likely feel the difference in daily commutes. The change also ends a 15% fast-track discount on clean air drivers. In the meantime, California Highway Patrol is giving a 60-day grace period. But after November, solo drivers who violate carpool lane rules could be ticketed. Governor Gavin Newsom tried to extend the decal program until 2027, but the bill needed approval from Congress and President Trump, and it failed to get either. The program was meant to encourage people to buy electric and clean air cars, but studies show that it didn't really cut pollution, and it ultimately slowed down carpool lanes. California still leads the country in electric vehicle sales, and other incentives remain. But with the decals gone, solo drivers will now have to share the lanes with everyone else. And Israel's defense minister is ordering all Palestinians to leave Gaza City, warning that anyone who stays will be treated as a militant supporter and face, quote, the full force of Israel's ground offensive. According to local hospitals, at least 16 Palestinians were killed in strikes Wednesday. It comes as Hamas weighs a new peace proposal from President Trump, which includes freeing the remaining hostages taken during the October 7th attack nearly 2 years ago. So far, about 400,000 people have fled Gaza City in the last month. But hundreds of thousands remain, and many are too poor or too weak to escape to the south. The war has now killed more than 66,000 Palestinians, according to Gaza's health ministry, while 48 Israeli hostages are still believed to be held in Gaza, and about 20 are thought to be alive. Hamas says it's still reviewing Trump's proposal, but Egypt and Qatar are pushing for changes. The plan has drawn broad international support, but with no clear path to Palestinian statehood, negotiations are expected to drag on. And for now, the fighting in Gaza shows no signs of slowing. And Pfizer is cutting a deal with the Trump administration to avoid steep new tariffs. According to reporters, Pfizer's CEO says the company secured a 3-year grace period in exchange for lowering some drug prices for U.S. customers. Take a look.
Today, I'm thrilled to announce that one of the world's largest pharmaceutical manufacturers and one of the best anywhere in the world, Pfizer, has agreed to offer countless prescription medications at major discounts in the United States as a result of the most favored nation drug pricing order that we established earlier this year. As you know, the United States is paying sometimes 10 times more than other countries.
The plan includes selling discounted medications through a new government website called Trump RX, with most on sale for around 50% off. Now, Pfizer says current top sellers like the blood thinner Eliquis and the pneumonia vaccine Prevnar are expected to be part of the lineup. The agreement shields Pfizer from tariffs that the White House had just announced days ago. In return, Pfizer says it will spend $70 billion on research, development, and U.S. manufacturing. As for the new markers, investors liked the news, and the Pfizer stock jumped more than 5% on Tuesday. The deal signals more negotiations could be ahead as the administration pushes other drug makers to follow suit. And in some good news, the Dodgers made a statement in Game 1 of the Wild Card Series Tuesday night, powering past the Reds 10-5 at Dodger Stadium. Reporter Jack Harris says Shohei Ohtani set the tone right away, sending just the 4th pitch of the game far into the seats. Teoscar Hernandez added 2 home runs and Tommy Edman chipped in another. In all, LA tied a franchise postseason record with 5 homers. And on the mound, Blake Snell lived up to his Cy Young billing. He held Cincinnati to just 2 runs across 7 innings and struck out a good 9 batters. But the bullpen nearly unraveled late in the game. Up 10-2 in the 8th, relievers walked 4 guys and gave up 3 runs. For Cincinnati, it was a wasted opportunity. Starter Hunter Green was tagged early and couldn't get out of the third inning. Meanwhile, the offense managed just 2 hits before their late rally in the 8th. The Dodgers take a 1-game lead in the best-of-3 series. Now, Game 2 is set for Wednesday night, with Los Angeles looking to end the wild card round and the Reds fighting to keep their season alive. That's it for now. To read these stories and more, be sure to subscribe to the LA Times.